Hi, everyone, and welcome to Café IBTTA. I'm Pat Jones. My guest today is Martin Tyson. Martin Tyson. Geez, how do you screw up the beginning, huh? My guest today is Martin Tyson. He's the Chief Revenue Officer of Global Agility Solutions. His firm enables you to create your ideal outsourced scenario by leveraging a team of offshore, onshore, and local personnel. His firm also offers a hybrid model that is specific to your business process outsourcing needs and compliance regulations. Martin has 25 years of experience in staffing and technology solutions, and he's a 2017 graduate of the IBTTA Leadership Academy with 10 years experience in the tolling space. Martin is an entrepreneur who's founded several startups and nonprofits, including several successful staffing companies in the Austin area. Martin joins us live from the Dorothy Scott as he travels around America's Great Loop and talks to leaders in the tolling and transportation industries. Martin, welcome to Café IBTTA. It's great to have you with us.
Thanks, Pat. It's great to be here. Really excited.
Well, this is Café IBTTA, where we drink coffee and talk about things that are interesting, relevant, uplifting, and fun. And we are definitely going to have fun today because Martin is on a boat, and I wish I was on a boat, and I'm wearing a nice tropical shirt. So we're going to have a lot of fun today. And to begin, a big shout out to the 2022 class of the IBTTA Leadership Academy. This is the first class we've had since 2020. The pandemic year canceled our 2021 class, but we're back and they are going to be in town starting this Sunday. So we salute the class of 2022. We're taking your questions and comments, and we want to get started right away. To begin, in the chat, tell us one thing that is on your bucket list. Now, Martin's going to talk about his bucket list, and he's living part of that bucket list. But we want you to tell you something that's on your bucket list, something you want to accomplish before you die that you just haven't gotten to yet. All right? Tell us. All right. Mount Everest. That's pretty good. That's ambitious. Be sure to clean up after yourself, though, huh? See the Grand Canyon. Alaskan cruise, Patagonia, the Great Loop. Hey, oh, Randy Brown. Okay. Visit Alaska. Meeting with Patrick Jones to discuss EV evolution. All right. Love it. Visit all 50 states. Yep, that's one of mine. Learn to sail. I think I just added America's Greta Loop. Yeah, Greta Loop. I don't know what the Greta Loop is, but could be really interesting. All right, this is great. Keep your cards and letters coming. We'll revisit this list periodically. Well, so Martin, let's start with you. Your bio says that you've been involved in the tolling space for about 10 years, and you've done many other things. Tell us how you got involved in the tolling space.
So is quite by accident. One of my high school roommates, college roommates, who many of y'all may know, Jason Schmier, was working for MSB, and he knew I had experience in staffing and some offshoring experience, and they were having difficulty getting image review agents to work in the Austin area. So he asked me if I put together a pilot program to basically try to do. So I put together a little pilot, an LLC pilot program, and tested it out, and it was very successful. And a year later, I asked him when the 6-month project was going to be over, and he said it wasn't, and they were actually going to need more people for another project. So at that point, I decided to go ahead and go full time into the toll road space and sell my candy shop that I had at the time. Yeah, I decided to get out of retail, which I was ready to get out of anyway, and then ended up putting this together, and we've grown from one site in the Philippines with about 60 agents to almost 900 agents in offices in Philippines, Vietnam, and in Texas.
So doing a favor for a friend was the birth of Global Agility Solutions. Is that right?
Heck, total accident.
From candy store to international business process outsourcing company. Yeah?
That's exactly how it happened.
Well, Martin, we mentioned in your bio that you're a 2017 graduate of the IBTTA Leadership Academy, and you put that in your bio, so it must be pretty important. And we've got the 14th class of the Leadership Academy coming into town on Sunday. Tell us about your experience with the IBTTA Leadership Academy. What does it mean to you?
The Leadership Academy is one of the most valuable experiences I've had in business. We had a great group of people, and the way that the course is run, and the friendships and the knowledge that you gain over that time frame is invaluable. I still keep up with most everybody in the class. Anytime we're going to an IBTTA event, we're always checking with each other, see who's coming. I attend every one of the alumni events that happen to happen. It's a great self-growth course. It's a great business growth course. It's a great relationship growth course. I can't say enough good things about it. And we actually now have four people from our company that have gone through Leadership Academy, and we'll continue to send more every year that we can.
That's awesome. I love your three things: self-improvement, business improvement, relationship improvement course. I think a lot of people would agree with you about that. All right, let's talk about the boat. You are right now you are in the midst of a bucket list item. You're on this boat called the Dorothy Scott. Tell us what the heck you're doing out there.
Sure. So I'm doing what's called the America's Great Loop. It's a trip around the eastern half of the U.S., all on the U.S. waterways and like the intercoastal inland rivers, Great Lakes. I do dip up into Canada, and I can show an actual picture of the map if you'd like.
Yeah, that'd be great. Let's take a look at the map.
So this is actually from the website I've had created for this. So if you can see here, I'll actually try to blow this up a little bit. Let me move this over. So you basically go up the intercoastal, starting in Florida, up through the Carolinas. I'll actually be coming and stopping by the IBTTA offices in Washington, D.C., up the Potomac, and then back around New Jersey and up in the Hudson River, up to the Erie Canal, across Lake Ontario, and then up into Lake Huron and a bunch of rivers and lakes in Canada, and then back down through Lake Michigan into Chicago, and then out of Chicago on the Illinois River, and then connecting the Mississippi River at St. Louis, and then cut across on the Ohio River to the Tennessee River. I've got a plan to try to get all the way up to Knoxville, but we'll see what the timing is on that. And then come down. This is the Tennessee Tom Bigby waterway, which connects to the Mobile River and then comes out in Mobile, Alabama. And then you're back in the Gulf side intercoastal back around to the end of Florida. And that whole trip takes about a year. So you're basically spring going up the East Coast, summer in the Great Lakes, fall coming down the inland rivers, and winter in the Gulf of Florida.
You planned that
and
well.
If you like, you can see where I am right now.
Yeah, let's do that. Show us where you are.
So this is my current location, which you're welcome to follow on the website. It'll track me everywhere I am. Last night we anchored out off of Lois Key, which is it's about 20 miles from Key West, and it is an uninhabited island that's just right off of Summerlin Key. And so yeah, that's where we camped. That's where we anchored out last night, and we'll be heading towards Miami today, and should get there on Friday.
All right, Benton Tempest has a comment here. I like the website Bridges and Beers. So since Benton brought it up, this is no sort of necessarily party cruise. You are having some interesting things happening on this cruise around the Great Loop. Tell us about Bridges and Beers and what does that mean?
Sure. So, originally this whole trip was a bucket list idea that I've wanted to do for over 10 years, and trying to come up and basically I decided, all right, I'm just finally going to do this. I found the boat in June, went and worked on it all of July, and it was in Virginia, and then I cruised it from Virginia to here in September, and then had a bunch of work done on it, and just started a week ago cruising down. So the website Bridges and Beers is to document the whole process. I've got a blog. I've got connected to my Instagram, and then also to kind of tie it into my career in tolling and transportation, and so that's the name Bridges and Beers, and I'm going to be doing a kind of Joe Rogan style podcast with leaders in the transportation space as I cruise around the country. So stopping and getting out on the boat, sitting down with your favorite adult beverage and chatting about what's going on in life and transportation, and in a very unscripted format. So it just kind of, people get to see the humanity of us that work in the transportation space.
Yeah. All right. The humanity. Right. So you intended to begin this, I think, a little bit earlier than actually happened. And because of COVID and other things, you've had to delay. Tell us who's at the top of your list for interview subjects in your Bridges and Beers podcast?
Well, so I was originally going to kick this off at Coral Gables for the board meetings, and my first podcast guest was going to be Mark Compton, the outgoing president of IBTTA at the time, and so because of that being canceled, along with some mechanical issues with the boat, we're unable to get that podcast done at that time. So we're still going to try to reschedule it at some point. He says it's cold up there now, so he might come down and meet me in Florida to do it instead of waiting till I get up north.
Mark Compton, always ready for a road trip. Yeah, that's great. That's awesome. So now you have, you're not traveling this alone, at least not all of the time. Tell us about some of the crewmates that you've had and that you anticipate having over the course of your journey.
Sure. So my first crew member was Randy Brown. As many of you probably know, he lived on his boat for the last couple of years, and then his had some work being done on it. And I was talking to him about this trip, or about cruising the boat from Virginia down to Florida to get it down before the winter. And he's like, I would love to come with you. I'm ready to get back on a boat. So Randy and I did I think it was 11 days from Coles Point, Virginia on the Potomac to Delray Beach, Florida. And we had a fantastic time. We had all kinds of challenges and issues we ran into. I ran aground and bent a prop in the intercoastal at night. And so we had to have that fixed. We had several other little challenges, but every one of those challenges, I didn't get upset about, because it was a learning experience. For example, when we ran aground, I had to have the boat pulled out and the props changed. And then I learned about zinc anodes that you need to have on your boat to keep things from corroding. So the zincs corrode instead. So I didn't know about that when I bought the boat. My other boats have all been really small and didn't need that and weren't in saltwater. So even though those things are challenging and cost money and are unexpected, you just got to take those as, the positive sides of it and the learning experience behind it. So it improves and prevents a bigger problem later on. So Randy was my first one. I've got two friends of mine now on the boat with me. Both live in Miami, both brothers and big boaters and fishermen. And when they found out about this trip, they were super excited to come with me down to the Keys. And then I've got on the website, I've got a calendar with a schedule. And basically it's friends, family, business associates that are going to be coming in and out all along the trip. A lot of it's going to be alone, but I welcome and encourage any of my friends from IBTTA to reach out and come jump on the boat for a few days. As I told my mom, it sleeps 5 comfortably and 12 uncomfortably. So
if you want to go to a frat party, you can go to Martin's boat, 12 people uncomfortably. Dave D'Angelo writes in the chat that he is in. So this is Café IBTTA. Our guest is Martin Tyson. He's the Chief Revenue Officer of Global Agility Solutions. He is sailing the Great Loop of America. What is it, 6,000 miles?
It's 6,000 to 6,500 miles, depending on the route you take.
All right, 6,500 miles. We're taking your questions. And in the meantime, there's always something that stands in the way, that stands between somebody and their bucket list. And many of you have told us what you want to do for your bucket list. Tell us what might be standing in your way in the chat, right now. What is it that could be standing in the way of you achieving your bucket list? Tell us now. And then I think Martin's going to have some advice for you. Come on, people. What's standing in the way of your twins in college? All right, good. I guess there's a little financial aspect there. Funds, toddler. All right, good. Kids, hey, bring them along. Martin said you could come on. Grant property taxes. Lots of exercise. Don't want to do that. Time to get off work. Time and money. Yeah. Okay. Kids, grandkids, toddlers, bills to be paid. A lot of good reasons there. Martin, you are a living example of this. Married with children. Oh, okay. You're a living example of this. You said you've been wanting to do this for 10 years. So what was it that was holding you back? How did you get over the hump?
So a lot of the same things people put in the chat: money, kids, time off from work, all of those things. And I'm just getting a message that my internet is unstable. Can y'all still hear me?
We can still, yeah, you're looking good.
Okay, good. Yeah, so all of those things were challenges that were preventing me from doing this for the last 10 years. And a few things have happened that have made that a little easier. My kids are both out of high school. I actually ended up getting divorced, and then also with COVID, kind of converting a lot of society into work from home or work from anywhere, kind of helped eliminate some of the I've got to be certain places for work, or I got to be at the office, or so forth. So in April, I just decided, you know what, I'm just going to do it, and whatever the challenges along the way, I'll either get it done and I'll finish it, or I won't. And I got a great cartoon from Randy Brown when we were talking about all this, and it's the gist of it is two guys are talking, and one guy's talking about how you're crazy, how you're going to do all this, do all this stuff. And he said, well, if I do it and I fail, I might die, but if I succeed, then that's great. And if you continue what you're doing and you succeed, you get to go back to work the next day. So it was a kind of mentality of, and if it works, it doesn't. And but I've had that challenge on the way. I really thought I was going to get started, cruising around the Caribbean, the Bahamas in November, and here we are almost 4 months later, and I'm just now getting started. So the challenges are there, and if you just put your mind to it, then you can figure out a way to make it happen. If you want something bad enough, you'll figure out a way. And even though my kids are out of school, my kids are coming with me for part of it. And actually on this trip, there's a lot of families that did the Great Loop with their kids during COVID, because they weren't in school anyway. And so what better education than to show them the country?
Show them the country. And if you want to stay away from people, a boat's a good place to be to do that, huh?
Absolutely.
It could be like Gilligan's Island, the 3-hour tour, and you wind up on this island with a crushed boat, and there you are with Gilligan, the professor, and Mary Ann, huh?
That's right. So I mean, hey, I guess there's worse people to talk with, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So I was thinking about the story about the founding of Global Agility Solutions and how you were doing a favor for a buddy. You've done other things for people that I think are of note. For instance, you teach entrepreneurship to foster kids, as I understand. Tell us a little bit about that. How did you get into that, and why did you decide on teaching entrepreneurship to kids? What does that all mean?
So this is a great story that basically is over a long period of my life. When I was in staffing, I used to get frustrated because I would have someone who had a felony that was trying to apply for a job, had served their time, and couldn't get a job anywhere. Specifically, I had an engineer who basically he got put in jail or put in prison for a year and a half because he had a whole bunch of cocaine on him. Had gotten out, cleaned up, had super marketable skills, and as the #1 staffing company in Austin, Texas, I couldn't find the guy a job. I thought there was something wrong with that.
Yeah.
Didn't know what to do with it, so I just left that and figured I'd come back to it some other time. In 2014, I ran my first marathon, and I started. I know this sounds crazy, but this really does get to the to the foster kid thing. So
take your time. It's a good story. Take your time.
So I ran my first marathon, and I didn't get to finish training because I got sick 3 weeks before the marathon, but I decided to run it anyway. And about mile 22, I didn't think I was going to make it. I didn't think I was going to be able to finish. But as if any of you have run a marathon or been out and cheered people on, there's people on the sideline that are high-fiving you all along the way. And so I was like, well, I don't know if I'm going to make it all the way through, but I can at least make it to that guy and high-five that guy. And so I literally ran the last 4 miles running to the next high five. And I was like, man, high five, there's something there. I've got to do something with that at some point. And then I started judging pitch competitions for the International Accelerator that brings in entrepreneurs from all around the world at South by Southwest and other times to pitch their ideas. And then they also try to get them funding to do that. So there was this group of 4 young women that were from Mexico, and they had come up with a way to clean up trash in Mexico. And it was basically a reward system that was already in existence, but it was very corrupt, and the waste management wasn't giving the proper rebates for bringing in trash and recyclables and stuff like that. So they created a kiosk that takes it, measures it, and then spits out basically the equivalent of a food stamps card that families can go buy food for their families. Highly successful. And so I was like, oh, this is amazing. There's problems all around the world that you never see, but you problem around you. So like those are things I try to solve. So knowing that there's all these things, all these different problems around, I was like, the more problems that you have around you, the more opportunity there is. And so I was like, all right, I got to do something with this too. So I decided that I would start a company that does entrepreneur education for people coming out of prison, and show them how they can take the disadvantages around them and turn them into something positive. So I started that. There turned out there was a company that was already doing that and doing a fantastic job. And then about the same time, I met someone who was working with a nonprofit called Austin Angels that works with foster kids. And she gave me some crazy statistics that are shocking, but 80% of foster kids end up in prison. 70% of foster kids female foster kids end up pregnant before they're 21. And then of course, 80% end up in prison. So then their kids are in the foster system. So she's like, why don't you do this entrepreneur education for foster kids? And I said, that's an amazing idea. So I put together a curriculum, an 8-week curriculum where I bring in a speaker, generally someone who's been a foster kid that's an entrepreneur, someone very influential in the community. They do a 30-minute talk. I then do an hour-long workshop, and then we do a 30-minute activity at the end. And then at the end of the course, all the kids get up and pitch their idea as if they were pitching it to an investor or somebody like that. And it's
Shark Tank.
Yeah, exactly.
Foster Kids Shark Tank. It
is exactly like that. And working with kids from ages 10 to 18, and it's been an amazing experience. Unfortunately, COVID has cut those classes off. We're hoping to restart them up in the summer. But
Martin, that is an amazing
that's
story.
a high five inspiration.
It's an amazing story. And the big takeaway for me is this thing you said, the more problems you have, the more opportunity there is to do something good. I think that's something that people don't often think about in their daily lives. So thank you for that. We've got a question from Tyler Milligan here in the chat. He says, it was always interesting to learn about your staff in the Philippines, how gifted the image reviewers are, and how you've maximized on those skill sets in other ways. Can you talk about this experience?
Sure. So first of all, wherever we've gone to start an office, and this has kind of been my general philosophy all along, is you want to treat your people really well. My goal is to make sure that we are the #1 place to work wherever we are. So we try to provide an environment where that's positive for the employees, that is very community-based, where they're supportive of each other, where we provide, especially in the Philippines, where it's very different than here, providing air conditioning is not very common. So providing, we do stuff like, we have a break room, and we have a rice allowance for them. We have a lot of other, we have an annual big Christmas party where, we fly out there whenever COVID's not happening, and have, a big celebration. And Christmas is a big celebration in the Philippines. So we kind of, and so like in Vietnam, the big celebration is Tet that just happened. So we try to blend our culture with their culture to provide the best type of working environment, and then also reward our employees with some upward mobility so they can see a career path there. And just treating people right and communicating is the biggest part of it. I think there's the success we've had with the image reviewers in both the Philippines and Vietnam also have to do with the culture there, where they're very, very hardworking and very dedicated, and want to please, and want to work hard, and want to make sure that they're providing value to whatever they're doing. So I think that's why we've been so successful, is a combination of all that.
That's great. That's great. Martin, I was going to ask you about a big takeaway for you about starting this great loop trip. What is one thing that you have learned, or one big aha moment or epiphany about starting this project and the obstacles you've encountered? What's one big takeaway for you?
So whenever you're taking on something like this, or a big endeavor, most people are going to tell you you're crazy and tell you shouldn't do it, or and so don't listen to those people. Just do it. Just make the effort to start. The hardest thing people do, whether it's starting a business or doing something on their bucket list, is just to start. It's really easy to push something off and say, oh, well, I'll do it when the kids are out of school, or I'll do it when I have more money, or I'll do it when it, and then if you're constantly saying I'll do it when, you generally never do it. So just start it no matter what.
That's great. That's great. Martin, I'm going to make a couple of announcements and then come back to you. But I was thinking, while I'm making these announcements, you could give us a little tour of the boat, right? Just walk around the boat while I'm making announcements, okay?
All righty.
All right. So our first in-person meeting of the year is the Technology Summit. It's going to happen March 19 through 22 in Orlando, Florida. It's 4 days of packed meeting content. There are 2 days of great content before the opening session of the summit on Monday, including, this is what's happening on Saturday. We've got the Executives Roundtable by invitation, a Young Professionals event, a Women in Innovation event, a procurement meeting, a Communications Roundtable, and the Backyard Olympics Foundation fundraiser. On Sunday, we've got a technical tour of SunTrax, a community service project for U.S. Hunger. We've got a Council of Platinum Sponsors working groups by invitation, the CTO and CIO Roundtable by invitation. We've got a diversity, equity, and inclusion safe space conversation, and other task force meetings by invitation. To cap it all off, Sunday night, we have the welcome reception with exhibitors. That all happens before the 2 days of excellent programming, general sessions, and breakouts on Monday and Tuesday. You don't want to miss the summit. March 19th through 22 in Orlando, Florida. And we've got this festive, Orlando tropical theme going here with Martin and me and our shirts and our boats and all that good stuff. See the full agenda at ibtta.org. Next up after that is the Road Usage Charging and Finance Conference, May 15 through 17 in Denver. The meeting planning group is already working on the content for that meeting as we speak. Well, Martin, back to you. What final words of wisdom do you have for us before we sign off?
Well, my final words of wisdom was going to say to start your journey on whatever it may be. I guess, just whenever you're looking at, think about whatever you're going to look back in life and say, what did I really wish I did? What I really wish I would have done? And then go do that now.
Martin, this has been an inspirational talk. I really appreciate your being with us. We wish you bon voyage as you continue your great loop, and we look forward to hearing your reviews and your podcasts along the way. The website is bridgesandbeers.com. Is that right?
That's correct.
All right. Thanks, Martin. And to all our viewers, thank you very much. Be safe, keep in touch, and we'll see you down the road or on a body of water. Thanks, everyone.